Good evening, all. I'm Steve Willis, co-founder of Hope Sheds Light. On behalf of my partners, Ron Rosetto and Arvo Prima, I welcome you to our Finding Hope for Life Family Support Meeting. It is always a joy to see everybody here in person. This is my favorite time. And thank you to all of our friends on Facebook for joining us each and every week, every other week. Thank you. For those of you who are new, let me introduce Hope. Hope is a family-focused non-profit agency. Our mission is to raise awareness and to educate individuals, families, and the community about the impact of addiction by having the courage to share our personal experiences, by offering our wisdom and strength, and providing resources and hope that lead to the long-term recovery of the entire family. What we want to do our part to remove the fear and stigma that still surrounds this disease. And we do it by offering a loving, safe, and hopeful environment that allows families to heal and brings wellness to the community. And this meeting that we have in the beautiful Holy Cross Lutheran Church, this was our first family support meeting, is designed to do just that. This meeting, this Finding Hope meeting, we meet on the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. And the first and third Tuesday, we meet in our Hope Sheds Light office at 253 Chestnut Street. That's our Finding Recovery for Life meeting. And that's a little different format than this. I'll explain this format in a bit, but the Finding Recovery meeting is more of a group learning type of format where we introduce topics that are designed to cultivate good recovery practices in the family. Because this is a family disease, it affects everybody. So we thank you for being here with us. So we have those meetings. We also have meetings every other Monday night in Red Bank. We're proud of that. And we have a grief group that meets every Thursday night. All of these meetings are open to anyone that's affected and impacted by substance misuse addiction. Our prayer is that by us sharing with you and you with us, you'll change the way you think and feel about addiction and become healthy. The format of this meeting is an educational piece. For the first 45-50 minutes, we have talented colleagues from the community to talk about a different aspect of prevention, treatment, and recovery. Again, it's for about 15 minutes or so, and then we break out into groups. I love that part a lot, because then we talk about what we've heard. Think about it, digest it, and importantly, we talk about what we can do as individuals, as individual family members, to get better. We all have a road to recovery, each and every one of us. And if we're serious about helping the loved one who remains sick, we have to realize that we are sick as well. When we change, we give our loved one the greatest opportunity to change, and we demonstrate courage along the way. So we're grateful for the opportunity each and every week to share with you. It's a blessing. It's a great life's work, really, and I thank Ron for coming up with the idea, and I'll try not to cry here, okay? So let me introduce our speaker tonight. Our speaker is Vergona-Fobian from Lost Souls Recovery. I've known Lisa for quite some time. We're really blessed to have her here, so please pay attention and we'll learn together, all right? Lisa, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for Hope Sheds Light for having me. I've been coming and watching your meetings through Facebook and here in person since you guys have started, and I'm actually so honored to actually be here. This is the one resource that we have in the community that we really needed for the longest time. And to see it go from when we started to where these guys are now, I'm gonna cry. It's something that's needed everywhere, and I'm so grateful to be here. So my name is Vergona-Fobian. I grew up in Ocean County in Toms River. I have been working in the field of addiction for 14 years. I work right now in Clementon, which is down in Camden County, for Lost Souls Recovery. We are an outpatient facility. We do IOP and outpatient, co-occurring. We have our co-occurring license. We are primary addiction. I've worked in detox. I've worked in outpatient, inpatient. I've worked with children. I've worked with families. The only thing I haven't done yet is my own practice. And the reason for that is because I don't have a master's, but I will at this time next year. So just stay tuned, invite me back. So I love it. I love working with this population. People that don't get it, they are constantly saying, why? You know, how do you do it? Again, I feel like I could cry because there's such a need for people that really want to do it for the right reasons. And I'm not patting myself on the back, but I have such a heart right now and such a desire. I'd rather waitress than work in this field, honestly. And I've said that for years. But if there needs to be help in this field, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here and going for my master's. My husband will tell you I'm going to work till I'm 90 right now. So I'll be here for a long time. I want to start, so I'm going to talk a little bit about change and a little bit about motivation. It's probably repetitious for some of you, but you know, you get it from different people and you'll pick up on something maybe you haven't heard. And I also want to hear some feedback from you guys because I'm always learning from the people that I take care of. So, you know, anybody that wants to speak up, wants to offer any feedback, please don't feel, you know, that you have to sit there quietly. I'm kind of loud, so I'm going to take this off because it's really distracting me. So can I just ask everybody, as if you're bored, and please don't be bored, can you just fold your arms for me? Just like, you know, as if you're just waiting for something or you are bored. Okay? Now I want you guys to just like, without thinking, just kind of switch and go the other way, reverse it. Anybody struggle with that a little bit?
A little bit, yeah.
Right. Some of you were practicing this, I'm sure, because I struggled. So it was something so small. It was a small task, really. And to struggle with something small, you know, if I were to ask you to fold your arms again, 90% of the time we're going to go back to the original way, the way that you're comfortable with. That's what we do. And a lot of things that we need to talk about, it's good for people that are working in recovery, but a lot of the stuff that we talk about are life lessons. We all benefit from it. The 12 steps, the lessons that we learn in our groups, that we teach, and it has to be that way. So the comfort that you feel, imagine somebody that's trying to get clean and that's trying to work recovery. Imagine when they feel that discomfort. You felt it for 2 seconds and it was kind of a joke and kind of we're trying to make light of the situation a little bit. But it's very uncomfortable and we put a lot of expectation. When I say we, I don't mean me, I don't mean anybody in this room. Society, we put a lot of expectation on people that are trying to get clean. We expect it yesterday. We want to dictate to them how they have to do it, and it doesn't work that way. It really doesn't work that way. So, how many have heard about the stages of change? Okay, so I'm not going to go into this. This is like a, you know, come to my IOP if you want. You're welcome. We'll sign releases. You guys can come down here with the full whole 2-hour group on it. But stages of change is huge for the addiction community. Because it's about getting you from where you're at in the beginning and to move you along to the next step. So stages of change, we start with pre-contemplation, which is kind of nobody really realizes how much of a problem they have. Whatever, and again, for the sake of us being able to understand, because sometimes it's hard for us to put ourselves in the shoes of somebody that's struggling with addiction and substance abuse. So put yourself in the shoe as changing jobs, dieting, whatever the case may be. When you're in pre-contemplation, you're diabetic, but you know what? Having something now and then, it's not really a big deal. You don't see the consequences. Maybe you haven't experienced the consequences. We move to and I'm going to go quickly again because this could be a whole 2-hour. We could do a workshop on this. I'm moving quickly just to get to where we need to get to. To move to the next stage, contemplation. Well, how many people, and some of you came in afterwards, how many people took a piece of candy when they came in? Be honest, I know it's a little forceful. Okay, how many of those people that took the candy really didn't want to take the candy? Maybe you're dieting, maybe you shouldn't, you know, you said last week, the holidays are coming. Anybody? Say, oh, it's only a small candy, right? Okay, so there you guys are. You're in contemplation.
There we go.
Because you're thinking, I really want to do the right thing for health or for my holiday dress or suit, but it's a candy, it's not that bad. That's how you guys can understand, and we can all understand where contemplation is. It's kind of like you kind of know it. You're weighing it, that your pros and cons of stopping or starting are kind of even at that point. You really don't see the purpose of stopping. You're kind of justifying. Then we get to preparation. That's where the action starts, where you're starting to make the plan. All right, you know what? Hope Sheds Light has a meeting every other Tuesday. I'm going to go. And put yourself either in from the family's shoes or from the person that's struggling with substance abuse. They start to plan meetings. Okay, on March 1st, after I'm done with my schooling and after my kids go back to college, I'm gonna get myself into program. So that's where the preparation part starts. Action, that's where you're like in full blown. You're actually attending the meetings, you're in sobriety, you're not eating your candy, whatever the case may be. Maintenance, it's pretty much, you're doing it without thinking about it. There is another step to the stages of change. I don't like to put it up. Talks a little bit about relapse, and we all know that's part of recovery for some people. I just don't like to put it up because we're talking about hope right now. I'm acknowledging it, but we're gonna stop at maintenance. So the stages of change really is just about motivating either our loved one, ourselves, whoever we're talking about. It's about motivating them to where they need to get to. And that can be difficult sometimes. As parents, or even as people that work in the field, we might expect so much. We're so angry, we're so tired. We see clients, I see clients, they're coming back in. And honestly, I say, thank God. They could be on the street. Don't be angry that they're coming back in, be glad, because they're getting something. So when we're trying to motivate people to change, it may not be as fast as we really want it to be. You have to be okay with that, because it's not going to happen fast. It's not supposed to. You want them to pay attention and be mindful to everything that's going on. Let them sponge it. Be patient. For some people, that's a contention in families. You have struggled so much for so long. As soon as they say they're ready for treatment, you're like, wow, great, this is gonna happen. In 2 weeks, we're gonna be great. Not great, but you're all excited. And there's still that chance that when that 2 weeks comes, they may say, you know what, never mind, I'm not ready. So how do we get our family members and our loved ones to want to change? Well, we know by telling them that they're going to die if they continue to use. How many people has that worked for? It doesn't. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for you. So we have to think of what else we're going to do differently. We're still losing too many lives, all ages. We have to think, what can we do differently? From my perspective as a therapist working with this clientele in this group, is we have to let them be part of their treatment. We have to get the ideas from them. We have to motivate them. If they say, you know what, I'll sit down and talk to you, be okay with that. Be satisfied. Every little move, they may not make any change for that small period of time, and I've had people come back months later, and then they're ready. Doesn't mean that what you guys talked about or what you guys actually have done for them, that it's fallen on deaf ears. It's not like that. You have to continue to support, and especially for yourselves, more than anything. Because the worst thing for us, and I say us, because I'm only realizing in the past couple of years how important it is, even working in a field, for me to go to Al-Anon. Because I struggle with the whole powerlessness. I want to save the world, and they don't listen to their family because their families have different ways of doing it, but I'm going to be that person that does it. That's a struggle. It's a struggle, and it kicks a lot of people to the curb where they don't want to work in the field anymore. So you have to motivate them. And what I'm finding out with some of my clients, because I do see a lot of my clients repetitiously. I did work for a place several years ago. Some of the clients found out where me and some of my coworkers are, and they followed us. So I've had the chance to work with them over several years. Now when I'm seeing them 6, 7 years later, now I'm really saying, we shouldn't be seeing them now. What can we do differently? So we talk about motivating them and the rewards. So there's hedonia, which is, we'll say H rewards, because that's a rough word to say over and over. And that's their superficial. So to say it where you guys can understand and kind of relate it to where it applies in your life. If I were to go with my children to Disney, I wish that was realistic and I wasn't just telling this as a story. You go on the roller coasters, you have your Dole Whip, you get your pictures taken with all the characters. It's exciting that day. You talk about it when you come home for a little bit, and then that kind of goes away. That excitement that you're feeling that day on the roller coaster with the food, with the characters, that goes away. It's short term. We refer to it kind of as superficial. And in recovery, I want to look good. I want to do it for, I want to do it for my wife. I want to do it for my mom. That's short term. It's not going to last. That internal motivation is not there. So then we refer to what is eudaimonia, and that is the e-rewards, and that's meaningful. So when I go to Disney for the next 5 or 10 years, when I pull out those pictures, that reward is spending that family time together. That's gonna last forever and ever. Me being in graduate school right now, the piece of paper, and hopefully the big party my husband throws me when I'm done, which I don't know if that will happen, that's short term. It's exciting, I'll be excited, I'll love the day. But that's not the motivation for me to finish school. The motivation is for me to be more of an advocate and to continue doing more in this community. And I say this community because I'm born and raised, well, not born, but I am raised for many years in Toms River. My commitment is to Toms River and to Ocean County. I have lots of friends and family here, and this is why I come back and I listen to everything, support everything that you guys have going on. It's my home. Doesn't mean I'm not committed to Clementon, New Jersey. I absolutely love my job. But it has to be meaningful. So me going for that grad school and that group degree is meaningful for me. It's meaningful, and honestly, I saw a bumper sticker not too long ago, and it said, if you want to make somebody happy, volunteer, do something good for somebody, and you'll make 2 people happy. What does that mean? Right? The person you're working for or doing something for, and yourself. And that's what it has to be about. We sit there, if we tell our loved ones all the reasons why they should be using substances, they know that. And I try to say this even as a counselor. How many times are we going to sit there and talk to them about their triggers? How many times are we going to sit there and talk to them about their relapse prevention plan? We got to touch on it, but we have to do things differently, and that is to find what's motivating them. And what I find is I sat down with some of the guys the past few weeks, sat them down with DVR, and some of them are in their 40s, some are 20s. They want to go back to school. Their face lit up like a child on Christmas morning. I don't have money. There's resources for that. I don't have time. You can do it online. When they found out how easy these types of things are and their goals were achievable, it changes their whole perspective on everything. I had a guy that was still coming every week. He would come and I'd say, did you drink over the weekend? And he'd go, yeah, just a little bit. But he's still coming, right? We got him getting ready to go back to school. He hasn't touched a drink in several weeks now. He's so motivated because he knows he's got to stay focused. He's in his 40s. This is the time he's got to do it. He's motivated. He's still young enough to be involved. And this is really what's motivating him. When we set goals with them, they have to be realistic. And as much as we're angry, the way that we talk to our loved ones and the way that we talk even in the field to people is we have to really talk to them like we would want to be talked to. And that's what it comes down to. I know we're angry, we're frustrated, we're a little tired. But you know what? We're not doing any help if we're gonna keep kicking them while they're down. I can't even imagine. I don't experience it as a parent, and I don't ever say never. Everybody thinks, oh, you're so lucky, you work in the field, you'll never have this problem. Huh. Never, ever will I ever say never. But I will say this, that every single one of my clients gets treated like they are one of my children. And that's what we have to do. It's biting your tongue sometimes. And please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not saying to continue the enabling game, because that's a whole nother story. You can still love them and love them from a distance. You can still love them, you can still talk to them, you can still support them, and you can still cut off the money. That's treating them with love and with respect and motivating them. So I just want to ask, is there anybody in here that has seen a change in the way that they handle their loved one? Have they started with a different approach and maybe switched that approach? And how has it worked for you? Nobody? Everybody's afraid to talk? Yes?
Yeah, I'm sort of a controlling person, so I try to run everything, and I got to the point of coming to meetings and stuff that I backed off and allowed him to make his own choices and experience the consequences of those things instead of me trying to ram on it all the time. A little relief comes with that.
Is there progress being made, do you think?
Yeah, it's much to what you said. I always say you can't whip the queen mirror into a U-turn, so you see it turning, not necessarily at the pace that you would like, but
Right.
it's turning, and
Exactly.
that in and of itself is pretty motivational.
Exactly, and you hit the nail right on the head. Every little change and progress that they make, we should be ecstatic. They're heading in a direction. They're not standing still. They're not going backwards. They're going forwards. And I mean, thank you for sharing that. That's so important. They want us to support them. They want to feel loved. It's a difficult thing. But it's even more difficult when you have to see them in a hospital or worse. And that needs to be our goal, for each other. Hopefully when your families are okay and things are okay, that you're reaching out to the people alongside of you. It never stops. Don't stop. Don't give up hope. There's so many people in this field that are coming in that are in recovery, and I say bring them all on. If they're doing well, they know how to motivate. They know what worked for them and what didn't. And it's wonderful that we have the opportunities, the recovery peer specialists. We're giving these people opportunity to share their gifts and to share everything that they know with this population. Doesn't mean that the rest of us are not helpful and are not offering our gifts to them, but we all need to put, whatever our gift is and our strength is, we all need to pull together as a community. And I absolutely would say, you need to sit down and you need to say, you know what? This is gonna kill you, you're gonna kill me, you're not gonna make it to your next birthday. It's easy to say that, it just flows off the tongue so easily. And I know we don't mean it when we say it, but we're so frustrated. The conversation has to be more of, what can I do to help you? What do you want? What is it that you see yourself doing? How can I help you? Who can I get to help you? Let's do it together.
And the gift from me, Lisa, was that not only did I say that a long time ago to change, to help me feel better, when I learned how to detach and step back with my son, learn to love in the right way, I figured, it helped me to become healthier. And thank God the focus was really on me becoming healthier.
That's
Because I think as
important.
family members, we don't know if our loved one's going to survive this.
Right.
and all the things you talk about are important. But with God's grace, I got strong and get to survive the death of that boy. Because we are all important in this equation.
Absolutely.
We
And
really are.
it's so
We have our
important what
own
you're
recovery.
saying.
Yeah.
It is absolutely, and I say that when I do my family sessions. They become frustrated, they wanna leave their loved one, I see it all, how they wanna react. They cry, they don't know how to react. They are sicker than my client. And what I say to them is, look, at the end of the day, if they decide to make the change or not, you have to be okay. So you're absolutely right, exactly what Steve just said. It's so difficult, even as a parent, we're always saying, our children, they're our number one. We gotta stop saying that, we have to be number one. Either as working in the field, with your loved ones, and not just pertaining to substance abuse, with everything. If one of your loved ones gets sick, you're not gonna help them if you fall apart. And what Steve said is so important. We have to remember that. I mean, the chaos is there and we kind of get ripped into it, just sucked into it. And then it becomes so difficult for us to take that step back and see what we need to do for ourselves. It's so important. I see some faces that I've seen passing through here. I belong to this church, so I see you guys once a month, and sometimes I come in here. I see some of the same faces through here, and this is a really important step for you as family members, is to be here, and is to learn everything like what Steve is just saying, and what you say to each other when you go into your small groups. This is what's going to give you the strength and carry you through. There is no guarantees. We know it. You guys know it on a personal level, some of you, and I know it as a counselor. We're burying too many, and it's children, it's adults, and we have to be prepared for anything. Did you want to say something?
Could you talk, because we were talking about this, could you talk a few minutes about the motivational thing? Because what's motivating for one person is not even on the top 5 for another, and how you do that, how you draw that out.
Right. So, well, first and foremost is you have to ask them what motivates them. So, if we want our child to go to college and to get a degree and to follow in our footsteps, that's what we want for them. It's not what they want necessarily. And we don't want to put that pressure on them. We want them, and even as counselors, the worst thing we can do is do their treatment plan before they even step foot in the door. And then we say, oh, here's your treatment plan. And they're like, okay, I guess I'll try that, but that wasn't what I was thinking. We have to sit down with them. I sit with them and I go, tell me, what's the top 5 problems you want to work on? And they tell me and I say, okay, what's the top 2? Because that's what we're going to do first. And when we start to make progress, so it's not overwhelming, let's go back to the other 3. And then we can always add on. We can switch it around, do whatever, but it's got to be what they want. So that's, and what they're saying, what we're saying here, is that they'll say, oh, I'm doing it for my mom, doing it for my dad. God, I look at myself in this picture and I look terrible. I really need to look better. I need to put some weight on. I got to stop doing that because I lost so much weight since then. That's motivators. And don't stop with that. Let that motivate if that motivates. Because just getting them in the door, getting them to speak, that's a step. That's a step in the right direction, because then you at least have their attention. But that's only superficial. It's going to last a short period of time. Eventually, you look good, but you're going to forget about it. The roller coaster that I went on 5 years ago, I couldn't even tell you what my stomach felt like coming off of it. I can tell you that my kids were smiling that day, and that was the purpose, to do something as a family, do something together. So that's where this e-rewards, the meaningful comes. You have to find something that's meaningful to them, and that's you have to help them to find that. And it could be school, it could be their job, and it's not telling them, it's asking them. If you could pick anything that you wanted to do with your life, what do you think? When you get yourself stable and together, where do you see yourself? What do you want to do? I want to help you to get there. We got to fill out papers. We got to talk to someone. I want to be part of that. I want to be part of that process with you. And that's really what it comes down to, is letting them be part of their plan instead of telling them what we want them to do. And that's hard sometimes because they've done the wrong thing for so long that we're just like, okay, it's not working. We gotta do what we have to do to step in and be that interventionist and tell them what they need to do. It's gonna work for a little bit. We know that. Even as adults, we know that. When our parents told us what we were doing, it didn't last, right? We did what we wanted to do anyway. So the whole motivational part is, and it's getting them to commit to something that they really want to do that's going to be life-changing for them, and it's going to motivate them and give them hope, give them that light at the end of the tunnel, that purpose, that aha, that like, you know, that feeling you get when you want to do something and you accomplish that. You want them to kind of pick for themselves what that is for them. And then you start to work towards it. You work towards it however you have to, and you just support them through it. And, you know, let them be part of it. Let them tell you how they want to do it. You know, who they would like involved. Why? You know, were you thinking about this? It's conversation. Any conversation you can have, that's so important, the communication part. Once you start communicating and they take the time to sit down and listen, you got their attention, you give them your attention, that's a really great step in the right direction. Even if they're not ready at that moment, they may remember that. They're gonna remember that in a little bit, and it's planting that seed. It's, I will never ever say that it's easy, and, you know, and I won't even talk about it from my perspective as a counselor. That's nothing. Push that aside. As a parent, a brother, a sister, a grandparent, a spouse, that's difficult. And it's always easier to take the short way, to yell. And then going back to what Steve said, the other thing, we handle it that way, and guess what? For the next week or so, we're struggling with, oh my gosh, I wish I didn't say that. Supposing they don't come home. You're struggling now with the guilt and the shame. Meet them where they're at. And then if, gosh forbid, they decide they don't want to go in that direction, you don't have that shame and guilt. You did what you could do, and you'll be okay with it. It's being at peace. And Steve said that, and it's a better feeling than not being at peace. It's not exactly where you want to be, but there's something about it where you can take a step back and say, I tried, I did what I can do, and still be able to live life and someday live a meaningful life, you know, if that they decide to stay on that route. I talk to families all the time, and one of the things is that they just constantly want to throw to the curb, you're not coming home, you're not welcome home for Christmas. This is their immediate reaction. Some of them don't even want to come in my office with a loved one. You know, they want to talk on the phone without them. Can't do it. It's their treatment. We got to do this together. It's a team. And I really believe that, you know, family involvement, no matter what, you know, if that first session is an angry session, so be it. You'll get there. Family involvement in recovery is so important. For me, it's one of the most important pieces of the puzzle in treatment. For me, when I get a client that comes through and the family wants to be involved, I breathe a sigh of relief. It's just like, thank goodness. You're gonna get that information, you're gonna get the support, they're gonna know that they're loved. It's so important. I know it's tough, but please, even if you have to step away and love from a distance, don't leave. And don't let anybody tell you to step away. Be with them, even if it's in prayer, until you can handle the face-to-face again, whatever you have to do. That is so important. My clients that are doing well are the ones that brought the families in, that have the family support. Anybody have any questions? I don't know what, John, so I'm not sure. Anybody have any questions or anything they want to share? Okay. Thank you so much, really, all of you. And, you know, when you say that you want to do something with them, just don't say it. It's so important when we say things that we follow through. The consistency, we want consistency from our loved ones. The consistency from our side is also just as important. If we want them to, we gotta meet them halfway. If we want them to work with us, we have to work with them also. So the consistency in being there is so important. And just use your support. When you feel that frustration, reach out to each other, reach out to whoever you have to. Come to every Tuesday night if you have to, here. Just reach out. There's so many resources out there. And these guys that work here, and Heather and everybody that works part of Hope Sheds Light, they know exactly which direction to point you in. I trust nobody more than Hope Sheds Light. They are doing things for the right reason. I am so grateful and I'm so thankful for all of you to let me come in here and talk to you. Thank you.